Welcome to Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and today's topic is channel agents in Microsoft Teams and how they work and what they are and how to set them up. Let's get started. All right, again, I'm Laura Rogers. Joelle Jobson is sometimes here. She's on vacation today, and you all vote for Power Hour. You all vote for the topic the day before, so you all voted for these channel agents in Microsoft Teams. We have Power Hour Wednesdays at 11 Central. We've been doing this for, 13 years or so. I like to gear these towards business users and power users. So I'll kind of show things that exist like in Admin Center every now and then, just kind of so you know you're there, but it isn't really geared towards admins or programmers. But it's sort of like low code power user type stuff that we talk about in Power Hour. And my company is IW Mentor. I started it about 8 years ago. It's an online training company, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for 15 years. So for today's topic, again, I love that you all voted for this. It's really an exciting brand new feature that we have. Refer to it. You could talk to me in chat as we talk about these agents. We have our chat going on in Teams. So just as kind of high, I'm going to start kind of high level, just explaining what this is, because the first thing I thought when I thought, we have a new kind of agent, was that I would probably have to go to Copilot Studio to create this, but you don't. This is really, really easy. So literally all I did to create an agent that I'll show you in a minute is I went to Teams and I created a new channel. And that new channel just has an agent. So because by default, this setting is turned on, and I happen to have a Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So I just got a channel agent in my new channel. And so it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. So this channel agent is tied to a specific Teams channel. And the purpose of a channel agent is to act like sort of like an assistant for that channel. So like if you have a channel that is about a certain project or a channel that is about a certain initiative, then that agent is going to be available for you to act as your assistant around the topics in that channel. So what it can do, here its capabilities, it can summarize conversations in meetings. It can draft loop-based status reports. So almost immediately, my channel agent gave me a status report. So I'll show you that in a minute in my demo. It can answer natural language questions about, what's going on in that channel. It can even create and track planner tasks. So you can do some really easy prompts to create tasks, assign them to people. And you can use really easy prompts to schedule meetings for the people, for the members of that channel, and have it write agendas for those meetings as well. So the ideal use case is something that you might want to try first is project coordination, team updates, and task management. Now, since this is a channel agent, I wanted to kind of explain to you a couple of the other kinds of agents that are out there, because I know Microsoft's throwing out all these new agents left and right, and it's a blur. It's kind of hard to keep track of it sometimes. So we have another type of agent, and you may have seen this if you have Copilot 365 license, you may have seen this in your meetings. It's a facilitator agent that you can turn on, and it's a facilitator of the meeting. So in your meeting, you just say turn on facilitator, and the facilitator is an agent that you can ask questions about the meeting. And so, maybe you arrive at the meeting 5 minutes late, you can personally ask the facilitator agent questions. And so as you are personally interacting with the facilitator agent, it's not necessarily showing that information to everybody else in the meeting. It's like your own set of questions. So it can do things like manage agenda timers, take AI generated notes, and track decisions and action items. So it's good for structured meetings, workshops, and executive briefings, those kind of things. Now we also have another kind of agent that's called a knowledge agent. So it's going to be connected to SharePoint sites specifically and as your authoritative content. So the purpose of the knowledge agent is to answer questions based on curated knowledge. It can respond to questions that you ask about documents in a library. It can surface relevant content from SharePoint, and it's going to have its answers are going to be grounded in those verified sources, those files in your library. So ideal use case, and then we use this as an example in a lot of our power hours is company policies. We put all the company policies in a library. We've even done other power hours where we demonstrated creating an agent that looks at those policies. So an ideal use case for a knowledge agent is policy clarification, onboarding, training support, things like that. So some of the main differences are going to be that a channel agent is just for a Teams channel, a facilitator agent is just for a Teams meeting, and a knowledge agent is for SharePoint. And you have the kind of different focuses that they have, like the channel agent is going to be for collaboration, facilitator agent is meeting productivity, and the knowledge agent is going to be for just getting answers from those trusted sources. But again, they're all just, you can have chats with all those different kinds of agents. So I'm going to do a demo in a minute, but before I do a demo, I want to talk a little bit about, there are some settings that I'll do a demo, and then we'll talk about the settings that need to be in place in Teams. And again, I didn't do anything to turn this on. It just worked. So it is apparently enabled by default. So these settings are really going to be for you to go in and if you want to change the settings from the default of it being turned on, and maybe control, if you want to control who can interact with those agents. And then also, I know that you all are going to ask this about the licensing requirements. So you do have to have that Microsoft 365 Copilot license. And of course, you have to have a Microsoft 365 license like E1 or E5, E3, one of those. Or of course, they have different letters if you're government, I think it's G1, etc. And then you also, of course, have to have a Teams license for this one, since it is in Teams. You have to be able to use Teams. You also have to have Loop enabled. Now, Loop is enabled by default, but it is something, and again, that's something that you can do in the Admin Center. And also, as you're looking at this and trying this out, remember that this channel agent is currently in public preview. So it might not be in your tenant. So your tenant might not have, it might not be rolled out to your tenant. Now, also before I'm not going to demonstrate this, but I want to let you know that we have, when you think about data security, Purview is in place. So it is going to ensure your data security and compliance, and your channel agents are only going to access content within the channel that they're assigned to. So that's that channel agent's purview is that channel. Admins can audit those interactions and ensure that sensitive data isn't exposed. And so therefore you'll always be able to make sure that there's nothing being shared that's not supposed to be. Also in the Copilot control system, this is for admins, and this is the admin center for Copilot. This is where you can govern what agents can do. So keep in mind that this is also an option for you to go in there as an admin and control this. You have, Intra has an agent ID to help you identify that agent. And then admins are going to be able to define action level controls. So I feel like I've gotten a lot of I know that these questions that you're going to ask about some of these things like the admin and the licensing. So I think I got some of that out of the way. So now I'll go ahead and do a demo. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so I have installed, I've got a channel agent. So what I did for my example is let me see if I can zoom in. So I have a IW Mentor training, of course, IW Mentor, that's our company. And I have a new course that I'm working on it's a Power BI Power User course. So I figured this would be a good example. So I created this little fake conversation going back and forth with this other fake user. And so I created this channel. And as soon as I created this channel called Power BI course, you can see kind of down here behind my head. As soon as I created, let me minimize some of this other stuff. There we go. As soon as I created this, the channel agent popped up to welcome me and tell me that it was here. So it immediately, I'll scroll back to the beginning. It immediately called itself the Power BI course agent. So that is just the name of the channel, and that's the agent. And it's telling me what it can do. So these are the things that I was mentioning to you. So it can create status reports to capture updates, progress, and blockers, add and assign tasks, and that is going to be in Planner, schedule meetings, and then share my knowledge from this channel in chats and meetings when I'm added. So when the agent gets added. So you can mention the agent. So you just type the @ symbol on your keyboard and mention the agent. And then that's where you can get help and, chat with it. So you can say, open the first thing you might want to look at is that agent's settings. So you can open the settings and it's got this status report. So first of all, let me just show you the agent settings. So I'll go back one. So this is the agent settings for this agent. So it tells me the knowledge sources. And so this is just the channel that I created in. And then this is the status report that it's going to automatically create. So the status report isn't something that I told it to do. It's just something that automatically is going to happen when you create an agent in a channel. So then when you see this status report, now this kind of reminds me, do you remember we did a Power Hour a few months ago about the Teams Updates app? And we did a Power Hour about the Teams Updates app. And I feel like that concept is similar to kind of what it's doing here. So what it's going to do, it's going to automatically create a status report, and it says it's going to start today, 10:30. Frequency is weekly. So you can change what the frequency is. So it's going to send this to reviewers every Wednesday. So again, I can say maybe every Wednesday at 1 p.m. instead. And then that's how often, and then I can change who the reviewers are. So, so Poppy and I would then be the ones receiving those status reports. So I just changed my settings for the agent. And so again, the very first thing that it did was it introduced itself. I can say, oh, that's great. It's a robot. And so then I can reply. So what I did is I said, just kind of joking, I said, what is Power BI? But then I forgot, I wanted to ask the agent that. And I had to remember that I have to mention, so you have to mention that agent if you want to ask it a question. So then I mentioned it and I said, what is Power BI? And then it's doing like a definition for me. It just looked it up and it's defining it. So then I can go down this thread and I can ask it more questions like that. And it even tells me how long it reasoned on that information. Kind of just a little details about what's going on in the AI behind the scenes. And then I've got another thread. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to reply to that. And then I've got this little conversation with Poppy. So we're having a conversation about the course and about the course outline. So this conversation, because I wanted to give the agent just a little context of just kind of some context of something in this channel because I had just created it. So I added the Power BI course, the actual course, the slides to the files here. And I also I created that conversation between me and Poppy about the course. So we kind of went back and forth about it. And then, so that would be this thread up here. So I'm trying to not to get too in the weeds with all these different threads that we had. So I kind of wanted to just demonstrate the basics of what we can do with this agent. So then I said, okay, and that's one of the things an agent can do is it can assign planner tasks to people. So I said, Power BI course agent, I mentioned it, and I said, assign a planner task to Poppy, review Power BI dashboard layout, due Friday. So then here's what it did. It said, all right, it created a planner task. It said it's been created, assigned to Poppy. And then here is the actual planner task right here. So if I open that, it takes me to the Planner app here in Teams. And I think we've covered that in another Power Hour too, the Planner app. So we went to it took me to the Planner app, and then it's showing me this task that it assigns. So I can go edit it. I can go define what bucket it's in, just add more details to it, add notes, etc. But that has been assigned to Poppy. So then I got to go back over here to my channel. And then another thing that I can do besides just assigning a task to people with a prompt is that I can schedule a meeting. So here's one. I said, so again, I mentioned the agent. I said, schedule a meeting for the project team to brainstorm project launch strategies, invite all members of this channel, and the best time is between 10 and 12 on Friday. So here's what it's telling me. It says it's scheduled a meeting for the project team. It's giving it a title, participants, summary, and then a date and time. And then it's basically like just letting me know to review the details. And then I could edit it if I want to, but I could just click schedule meeting. So then it's actually putting a meeting on the calendar. Here it is. And so I can literally just join the meeting from here. So yeah. So then it's letting everybody know that it's scheduled the meeting. So I know, of course, in Outlook, you can chat with Copilot, and you can do things with meetings and things from within Outlook, but this is a way to keep it contextual. So we're talking about this project, or in this case, this course we're creating, and then we're just scheduling the meeting from within here because it's all, just all the people involved in it are in this channel already. So yeah, so that's the main gist of what you can do with a channel agent. You just, again, think about, of course, this is a channel that I just created today, but think about a channel where you might have a lot going on and just it might get overwhelming. So you want to be able to just kind of ask questions about what's going on in that channel. So now the instructions for adding, I'll go click on another channel, like this channel was already here. The instructions for adding an agent to an existing channel. So what I did with this Power BI course is I created this, it was a brand new channel. So it just automatically got an agent. And you can see it up here when I click this little people icon at the top right. I can see what apps and agents and bots have been added. I can see all the people and I can see what's been added. And so this agent is one of the things that's been added. And I can click add agents and bots. So what the instructions say is to go here and for a channel that doesn't have an agent, and click add agents and bots. And it says that you should be able to add that channel agent from here, but I don't see it. I haven't been able to find it in this list. So I'm wondering if, since this is a preview feature, this is a preview, that's probably why that I'm not able to see it listed here for an existing channel. So, but it was very easy to just add it to a new channel. So what I'm going to do next is I'll show you some of these admin settings, and then we'll go through the process of creating a new channel, because I showed you one where it was a channel that I created before I started the show, but I'll do another brand new one so you can kind of see what that process looks like. So let's go look at the admin center. And again, I know that usually a lot of you are not admins. This isn't necessarily a show geared towards admins, but I like to show you at least where this is if you need to go talk to your admin and ask them for this. So you go to the Teams Admin Center, go to Manage Apps, and you look for Channel Agent. And then I've got Channel Agent here, and this is where you're defining like who it's available to. So I've got action. Right now it's just on already. So the only thing I can do is click block. So when I go to users and groups, it just says it's available to everyone. So what I can do here is I can change. So if I don't want it to be available to everyone, I can change who it's available to. Now, of course, when I have to have a Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot license anyway to be able to use one of these agents, but This makes it so it's not even, it's only going to be available to specific people if you want to, or if you just want to say no one. So this is where you'd be able to go control some of this stuff. All right, so that's where you can find it. So channel agent is what it's called here in the Teams Admin Center. And then I've got setup policies. Now this is just kind of some Teams admin stuff where you can define what's available to different, kind of what apps are available to different teams. But this main app is where you look for, and you just look for channel agent, and that's where you can find that one. So there's also documentation. You need to make sure that loop is enabled. So there's documentation that I shared with you in the chat. In the little notes about loop. So let me go to here's our Power Hour notes right here. So here's the chat going on, and here's the notes. And so I shared these links with you for those of you in the chat saying hello today. And so I've got all this: set up a channel, get started with channel agent, how they work, how to manage them, overview. And some of this is geared towards Teams admins, and some of this is geared towards end users. So like this one that says, the ones that say Microsoft support, that's going to be just like end user documentation. See? So this is really just pretty basic. It's not going to be really telling you to do anything in the admin center. All right. So another thing, well, now let's go ahead and I'll move this out of the way. Let's go ahead and talk about creating one of these. So let me move the admin center out of the way. And so here I am. I'll just create another one in this same team, and I'll just create another channel, and I'll just call this one a SharePoint course. Now I did add a file to that other one, but to the files tab, but I haven't seen anything about channel agents actually looking at the content and the files in here. So I was really just kind of testing it to see if it would do anything, but I don't think that the agent necessarily sees the files that are in the channel. So just kind of want to clarify that. So instead of doing threads, I'll do posts, just because I think it's more, it's easier to follow as I'm doing a demo. And I'll say recommend, yes. Okay. And I'm creating just a standard channel. So here's what happened when I created that Power BI course one. Oh, there we go. So just took a few seconds, and there's my agent. I literally didn't have to do anything. So it says, hi everyone, I've been added to this channel. And again, that's that little welcome spiel that I showed you a minute ago. So it's immediately showing me, how I can get into the status report settings, if I want to delete the agent, and then ask me a question. So I don't have any content in here. I haven't had any conversations, but I can immediately start having my conversations, working on my files, having chats about this topic, and then I can always refer to the agent by mentioning it. So talk about SharePoint. This is, and then, so this is just kind of a new thread. And so I could be having a conversation with my team about this, but as I'm having the conversation, now I have this, when I do the to mention somebody, and these are just all the people that are in this team, then I can mention the agent. And then that's where I can say, what can you do? And now I'm having kind of a thread of a chat talking to the agent. So it will take a few seconds whenever you have asked the agent a question, but then you'll be able to see its reasoning. You'll be able to see it's thinking about, it'll kind of show you the little dots going across the screen of it thinking. All right, so I'll give it a few seconds. Let me see. I had some notes of what I was going to cover. Let me make sure I got everything. I can go ahead and do the part where I assign a task. So I'll just say, well, I'll wait for it to finish reasoning for me. And then I'll just kind of demo those two concepts of assigning a task to people. All right, so here this is great. I love this. So look at all the information that it's giving me. It's telling me what it can do. So I can see that it can create status reports, assign tasks, schedule meetings, share knowledge from this channel in chats and meetings where I'm added. So you can add it to other places, and then just basically answer questions and analyze SharePoint content. So this doesn't say specifically documents that are in this channel. It just says documents and information you have access to. I can automate repetitive tasks. That's very cool. Support content management and governance, collaborate and share knowledge, interact via @mentions, and then you can customize the scope and behavior to fit your team. So that's a lot. So there's a lot of fun things to try when you do that. Let's see, somebody had a question. When it's in the channel, can all members of the channel use the agent even though they may not have a Copilot license? I don't think so. So I don't think that. Now, the only thing we've demoed is we had a power hour about the FAQ web part, and that web part uses Copilot to generate a list of frequently asked questions about the content you point it to. And then everyone, even if you have a Copilot license or not, can see that web part. But you do have to have a Copilot license to be able to interact with agents and ask them questions, just in general, for all the agents. Yeah. So to answer the question, I believe you do. Everybody has to have a Copilot license to be able to chat with this bot. All right, so I'm going to do the prompt now that I was mentioning of assigning a planner task. So I'm going to just get this. I got Copilot to create this for me. So I'll just @mention it, @mention the course agent, assign a planner task to, and I'll just @mention Poppy. Or review the Power BI. I'll just say SharePoint course. Due by Friday, mark it as high priority and add a checklist for visuals, filters, and data refresh. Okay. Now it created this prompt for me having to do with Power BI, but I'm going to see what it does because, and this is now the SharePoint course, but I'm going to see what it does. So it usually, again, it takes a few seconds. You can like maybe count to 10 until you see it doing something. So now it's saying, it's thinking about it, and then it's going to go ahead and assign that task. So it just takes a minute. And then, then I'm going to do after that. So now I can say see more, and I can say click on this. Wait, would you like me to prepare? Hold on, let me just read the whole thing. I was unable to find any internal group information, user profile, or contact details. Ooh, that's interesting. So now what the difference is in this other Power BI course, we were having a little fake conversation already in that channel. And so I had already established a conversation with Poppy. But in this one, like there's nothing going on yet. There's no content. So it doesn't even understand who Poppy is. So that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to say, I'll log in as Poppy. Why not, right? And Poppy's going to go to this SharePoint course. So now I'm Poppy, and I'll say, Cool. I'm Poppy. maybe the agent will now like see who that is. So I guess maybe that's kind of a bug. I'm not sure because it just didn't know. And also I noticed that when it created that meeting for me a few minutes ago, it only included Poppy because Poppy was the only other person that had been interacting and chatting in this team, in that channel. So maybe even though it's got, several people that belong, just kind of maybe pay attention to that if you see somebody missing, or if it gives you this, maybe it's just because there hasn't been an interaction yet. So maybe I'm just finding some, again, it's a brand new product. Maybe I'm just finding a little bug with it. So I'll go ahead and do this again. I'll see if it recognizes it now. Let's see what Lisa's saying. Hold on a second. I'll there. Now let's see if it go. Okay, let me see what Lisa's question is. Yeah, you're right. I would have thought it would have recognized all the team members too, but again, maybe that's just one of those little buggy things because it's brand new. And so and again, I'm just scientific, just deduction here is the only difference between this channel and the one where it actually worked when I assigned a task was that Poppy had been part of the conversation and we'd been going back and forth. So look at this, now it worked. So it actually did create this task. So I'll click on the task. It'll take me over to Planner, and now I can see that it created it and assigned it to Poppy. Now it didn't do everything that I listed necessarily, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes with AI, but it did create the task for me. All right, so the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'll go back over here, and it was gonna be that other concept of a meeting, of getting it to schedule a meeting. So now I'll just say to the agent, and schedule a 45-minute meeting with Poppy and Laura next Wednesday to review blah, 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 blah. Okay. And go. So again, I'll wait a few seconds and then watch it go. So this does, think about all the time you spend going back and forth between Outlook and Teams and chats and things, and how this is a big time saver. It's just, you just are literally just typing a sentence, and then you have a meeting. So it's reasoning over, and you can see what it's doing. You can always expand whenever Copilot's reasoning over something and see what it's doing. So it's getting my information. So this time I only said Poppy and Laura. I didn't say I didn't mention us. I didn't say anything about, anything like your email addresses. So it's got to go figure out my user ID and figure out Poppy's user ID and figure out, take that text of just me typing people's first names, and it has to figure out who those actual users are in my tenant. And so it's just doing all that automatically real quick, and then it's creating a meeting. So now it's got, I'll just say schedule meeting. And now it's just going to put a new meeting on my calendar. Very cool. So any other questions? I figured that'd be kind of a quick one, but let me make sure I covered everything I wanted to talk about. And I know this is really fun. I created the outline for just Power Hour, for just the pedagogy and the structure of what I'd be talking about today. I used Copilot to do it. So I know, because Copilot's one of those things where there are people that might have a Copilot license, but you haven't necessarily started adopting it and using it in your daily life yet. And it's one of those things you have to kind of think of and remember to use. So this is an example of what I did. I said, I'm doing a demo today about Microsoft Teams, showing how the new channel agents work. In my demo, the channel is about a Power BI course. I'd like you to create a fake conversation between Poppy and Laura that I can copy and paste into Teams for my demo. And then it gave me the fake conversation. So I just went into each account and pasted it. And then I said, now I'm doing a demo, and create an outline and a pedagogy for me with the audience being power users. I'll need to mention Teams admin settings, licensing, and the difference between other agents. So it created this outline for me to follow and just kind of talk about as I'm going, to kind of help me just remember all the things that I wanted to cover. So yeah, thought that was really neat. What else do I need to do with the agent? Let me see if there are any other questions. What happens if your meeting request includes someone besides you and Poppy? When it gets created? Oh, I didn't mean to join it. So if it needs to include somebody besides me and Poppy, I can just go add them here. So I literally just clicked on the meeting and I can go edit the meeting from here. Does that answer your question? So close that. So funny. That's going to pop up and remind me in a week, and I'm going to say, what the heck is this? So again, you can control a lot of this through Teams admin. You can say who's allowed to have agents or not. You can, again, you always have Purview, and you have the Copilot Control Center. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah. Copilot Control System, sorry. Copilot Control System is, again, where you're always going to be able to govern all of your agents in Microsoft 365. And just in general, when you're working with agents, just some tips for prompting is just remember you're using natural language. Keep your tasks and questions scoped to that channel's purpose. If you have questions that are related to something else, I would just go out to just the regular Copilot app over here. Or you could just go to the Microsoft365.com, just like that main homepage of Microsoft 365, where you can chat with Copilot there. And then you can use Loop for collaborative editing in here. And that would be, notice when you create a new page in here, it uses Loop. And some limitations of these agents. They can't be added to private chats or to other channels just yet. Only licensed users can interact, so that answers that question. And it's not going to access content outside of its assigned channel. Now, of course, I asked it, what is Power BI? And it had knowledge just off the internet of defining what Power BI is, but because I didn't have any content yet in that channel. But it's not going to be accessing channel other information in your tenant other than in that channel. So yeah, that is about it. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so Lisa was talking about when I asked it to schedule the meeting, I could have just mentioned the first names of all the people instead of just me and Poppy, or I could have mentioned them as well, which actually might have made the agent made it a little faster. Oh, and Gabrielle says in the chat that they use Copilot to create a Q&A from a meeting chat and then use Power Automate to grab them and add them to SharePoint. So that automation triggers once a day. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Yeah, that sounds like we could do something like that in another Power Hour. I'll see if I can figure that out and add it as a topic. So that's a really good idea. I love. Yeah, you all let me know if you have any other like fun things you're doing with Copilot at work. I know Microsoft always gives you a lot of good just prompt examples when you go to Copilot. Like it says, it kind of knows things that I'm working on and people who I'm working with, and it kind of can, suggest things like that to give me ideas for prompts. But yeah, I love that. I love that suggestion. So let me go back flip back to the other view here. All right, so thanks everybody for coming. In summary, we learned about how you can add an agent to a channel in Teams, and it's really easy. You just create a new channel and the agent appears. There are controls you have in Teams Admin Center for that, and everyone interacting with that agent does need to have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license, And it can do things like assign tasks to people, schedule meetings, and it will automatically generate status reports at whatever frequency you give it. So again, iwmentor.com is where I have all our training courses. And it's also where you can click schedule at the top and see when the next Power Hour is going to be. Also, I'm going to be speaking at the Power Platform Community Conference in a couple of weeks, the last week of October, and then the week after that at TechCon in Dallas. And so hopefully I'll meet some of you in person. So thanks everybody for coming.